everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my makeup favourites from 2017. I originally filmed this video, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, but I've filmed it on my phone, so now I want to start and upload videos with my camera, and 2, it was over an hour long and there was a lot of stuff in there I just chucked in there for the sake of putting it in the video. But I really condensed down the absolute favourite stuff I have used all year and condensed it down, and the products I have sitting right in front of me right now, and I will go through them in no particular order and show you basically the things that were my absolute favourites for the year of 2017. Some were new products just to me and some were new products to everyone. Alright, so I will start with the first thing that was new like this year, or last year, sorry, and other than that, as I said, the rest of my products are older. But the one that was new was the Anastasia Prism palette. I've done several videos using this, and to be quite honest, I have not really used any palette since I got it. I use it for a very, very neutral look, using Unity or Lure and a bit of Parallel. That's basically an everyday look. Or I can use Eden and Satin and really make a warm and orange. I've even used Sphere once. The only colour I really haven't played with is Osiris, and that's the one right here. But I have worn it, and to be quite honest, I love every shade that's in here. The only shade that did disappoint me, as I have mentioned, is Obsidian. Sphere kind of disappointed me too because it wears off my eyes within minutes. But Obsidian is a little bit drier than the rest of them. Not as creamy, but it still works. It's not the best black I've ever used. It does take a little bit of blending, so does Parallel. They do take a little bit extra blending to look good. But other than that, this is like my favourite palette. Pyramid is like my all-time favourite gold now, and so is Eternal is my absolute favourite copper shade. It's the only copper, like actual like metallic copper shade that stays on my eyes. I have one from Chi Chi. I've pretty much hit the pan on it because I have to keep reapplying it. It just falls off no matter what I do. My other palette I've been reaching for, if I haven't used this, my other go-to palette was the Kat Von D Shade Light palette. This has just got some amazing colours in it. I've hit pan on this shade up here, it's right there. I'm actually using this on my eyes right now, not that you can really tell. I basically just got this as like my highlight, my inner corner, and this brown as my crease shade. But yeah, these colours, they are very powdery, not as powdery as the Anastasia ones lately, but they are perfectly pigmented. They blend really well. I'm never really disappointed with a look when I use this palette. That grey colour is beautiful. The only trio I really don't work with that often is the warm side, but I still do use it. This is 100% a staple in my collection. If all my makeup got destroyed and someone gave me the money to repurchase everything, this would actually probably be the first palette that I buy, because it's just got everything in it. And it's really sturdy, the mirror's really sturdy, and I have travelled with this and it works really well. I have a foundation primer, and it is the Laura Mercier Oil-Free Foundation Primer. This is my favourite, this was my favourite primer in the winter time. Not so much in the summer because it is still moisturising and it does still send me very oily. However, this is my favourite primer from last winter as well, because my skin really dried out in the winter. I honestly don't know why, but it did. And this was perfect. This really sort of smooths out my skin a little bit, but it gave me that little bit extra hydration that I needed. I still went a bit more oily with it, but it was probably the best primer for me to use at the time. A little bit goes a long way. I've had this for ages and I still got about half of it left. It works really well. It sort of is like an everyday primer. It leaves my skin feeling the slightest bit tacky, which is good, but it's not like over moisturizing, over tacky or anything where my foundation won't set. I have issues with my foundation not setting, even with a powder. Once I've say I put my primer on, put my foundation on, and I go to powder, and my foundation, particularly around the sides of my face and my jawline and that down here, my foundation just won't set like at all. I touch it and it feels just as sticky like I haven't applied powder, but that doesn't happen with this primer and I love it. It doesn't break me out, it's really good. Other primer that I loved was the MAC Prep and Prime Skin Base. Now this one was a purchase later in the year, but I have been using samples of this for years. I only purchased a full size a couple of months ago. But yeah, this is actually my favorite primer 99% of the time. Probably more in the summer just because, like I said, it is mattifying. This is the mattifying one. I don't like the fact it's got little glitter in it. Not the fact it goes on my face, but it just goes all over my hands and then all over everything else I touch. I even wash my hands. I've used makeup wipes. If I use this, it stays on all day. But this really just helps control my oil. My face loves this. It doesn't emphasize texture, but it also doesn't cover it up either, which I find is nice. A lot of primers that do smooth out my face tend to be a lot more hydrating. The pump is really nice on this and the bottle's really small. So yeah, this really is my favorite just because it's the only mattifying one I found that's not silicone based. Silicone gel ones are terrible. They're actually worse for oily skin, but this one is beautiful. I love it. 100% recommend it. I have a blush. Now this one I have not been using as much on camera. I did for a while, but this is probably the blush I was using a lot off camera most of the time. It's just a coincidence I grabbed the other two. But this is the Hourglass Ambient Blush in Diffused Heat. I love this. I've got two other colours. They're more of the peachy ones, but this is the purple one. I love swirling my brush sort of in this part here, but there are times where I'll use the more highlighted side. But this is beautiful. I love the colour of it. When I bought them, I honestly thought this would be the one I liked the least, but I love it. It's beautiful. It's got that nice like plum, like berry undertone, but it's not too deep as to where it looks funny on my skin. It has a beautiful glow to it. It's got the perfect amount of pigment. It stays on all day. I really like it. It has a cute little mirror in it as well, so it's good if I am traveling somewhere. But really this was my go-to like darker colour blush, I suppose you could say. But it gave my skin a lovely highlight, and there were even times where I just swirled my brush in the very corner there and used that as my highlight. It is a little bit more chunky, but it's still absolutely beautiful. Now the two other blushes that I have right here are on the opposite ends of the spectrum to that. They are a lot cheaper than what this is. So the first one is only $2, I think. Yes, $2. And it is the Oxx blush. Now you guys probably can tell from any of my videos this would be in this. This one would be in this video. This is the perfect glowy blush. It's in like a baked formula, so it is a little bit raised up, but this is perfect. I can't even believe this is only $2, honestly. It's got the perfect glow to it. It's really soft. It's not even chunky at all. It's not glittery. It's not even shimmery. It's just got a sheen. It's really soft. It's got lovely pigment to it. You can see that on my finger. It's got amazing pigment. I've just swatched it on my hand there. You can see the glow on that is just absolutely amazing. It doesn't emphasize texture. It blends perfectly well. One tap of my brush is honestly enough to do both sides of my face. It looks beautiful. I highly recommend anyone to go to Kmart and try this. I have not tried their other colors. I do only have this one, but I highly recommend it. I can't even believe that it is only $2. It's just amazing. And my other one, you probably can also guess, and it is the Rimmel Blush, the Lasting Finish Soft Color Blush in Pink Rose. This is, again, absolutely amazing. It has the most like natural color on the skin. As you can see, this has got like that intense pink. This is basically a blush I wear when I don't know what one to wear. If I don't know whether I need a cool tone, a warm tone, a more purple, I honestly just wear this all the time. This used to stay in my everyday makeup drawer because it just went with literally anything. It does have that more peachy undertone, which I find is perfect for my skin. I'm sorry if I keep looking up. I forget that my viewfinder is no longer my camera as well. But it's got a really, really nice glow to the skin as well. The tiniest bit more chunky than this one, but honestly it looks beautiful. They're really cheap as well. I think they're like $8 or something. It's in such a small little packet as well, which is perfect for travel, which the color is perfect as well, because really this is, like I said, goes with anything. So you can just take this one blush and it works perfectly. It gives me just a beautiful, healthy, everyday glow. And honestly, this is probably my go-to blush that I own because it just matches everything. I do find, however, on my skin tone I can go a little bit overboard, a little bit too much. I think it's clear to you guys as well, maybe from the more first half of the year, that my NARS Laguna bronzer was my all-time favourite. I do prefer my Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil a tiny little bit more. However, I do still really, really like this. As you can see, I've hit the pan. I'm wearing my Too Faced one today and I find it looks a lot more natural on my skin. It doesn't look as heavy. It blends out a lot more. Like, it doesn't even look like a heavy powder. But this one is slightly more orange, darker. I can't use this to contour on my skin tone. It doesn't. I've tried. It looks too funny. I don't know about everyone else's, but mine is way too shimmery as well for me to be able to use as a contour and also on my eyes. I know a lot of people who just use their same bronzer on their eyes, and I've tried this several times, and when I go like this, or when I look down, you can see that I've got like a shimmery eyeshadow in my crease, and it looks really funny. So if it's the only shadow I've got on my lid, it looks really weird. So really the only thing I can use this for is a bronzer. I do prefer to use it when I'm slightly more tan, but it works either way. Comparing this, which is a $65 bronzer, to my Too Faced one, which is $47, I have to say I do prefer the Too Faced one. This one is a little bit overpriced personally for me. I would repurchase it because it is nice and it does work very well. It blends out perfectly. It never looks patchy on my skin. It's got a really nice mirror, which I've actually used several times to do my whole face while I've been at my dad's and things like that. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know the pros and the cons. The packaging is a downside as well because it gets really dirty. Although mine's probably not as dirty as some people's because I try to keep my stuff as clean as I can. I have a foundation and it is Estee Lauder Double. Now, I bought this, I want to say, late November 2016, but this is almost empty, honestly. I need to go and get another one, but I want to go and actually get proper color matched because this is what I bought to match me when I was tan, which I had a lot more of a natural tan as well when I had my year 12 formal, because I'd been very sunburned a couple of weeks beforehand. I'd been using self-tanner lotion, so this matched me a lot better. It doesn't match me as well now, especially even with my self-tanner that I use because it's more olive toned. But this is just, this honestly, if this was cheaper, this would be my absolute go-to foundation all day, every day. It's not even really for the coverage, it's the fact it just stays on my face. I have tried so many foundations and they just come off. MAC Studio Fix looks really nice on my skin when I first apply it, but literally after like an hour it's worn off my forehead. It wears off even like on the sides of my chin, even when I don't touch my face. I actually ended up giving my bottle to one of my friends because after like the third use, I just could not use it. It honestly looks really nice on my skin though, really smooth, really flawless, but it just wore off. And that CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous, the one that's in the squeezy tube with the like pink packaging, that one is exactly the same. Looks really nice, looks really smooth, but wears off in like an hour. I'm not even joking. At the end of the day, my nose is like, the redness on my nose was peeping through. When I had the MAC foundation, my face was really badly red. So like my cheeks, the redness on my cheeks and my nose would come through. I'd be so oily, it was gross. This, however, looks perfect on my skin. It looks really, really smooth. It looks, I don't want to say healthy because it's really matte. But it just looks really nice. It doesn't emphasize the texture. It doesn't make my texture worse. It doesn't break me out. It doesn't make my skin look dry. It stays all day. I wore this to my year 12 formal. So I did my makeup at about, I want to say, I put this on at about between 2 p.m. and 2:15. And came home after the formal, which was approximately 9 o'clock, and then went to the after party, and I didn't end up taking my makeup off till well after midnight. So approximately, I want to say 9 to 10 hours away, and this was beautiful. Honestly, I could have just gone out like again and be totally fine with it. I was the tiniest bit oily on my nose, but it was even to the point where I didn't even need to blot, just a tiny bit more powder, and I was fine. When I came home from the party again, my face still hadn't even pulled any more oil through. So this foundation with this primer is like my best combination ever. I do find it hard to sheer this down a lot if I want a more natural finish, more natural coverage, but really at the end of the day, if I want a foundation that stays, this is it. The only thing I hate is their shade range. It sucks. I have a lipstick here, and this is not necessarily this color, but it's just the brand in general. Maybelline lipsticks have honestly been the best ones this year for me. I've got about 5 of them. I need to buy a lot more because they are amazing. Now this one is actually the one I'm wearing right now. It's from the Rebel Bloom collection in Peach Poppy. I do have a bright pink lip liner underneath, so that's why it looks a little bit less peachy. But their lipsticks are amazing. They stay on all the time. I really just use a lip liner with this to give it like a bit more oomph, because my lip color is so like dark. They really just stay all day. They don't make my lips feel funny. They don't bleed outside my lip line. They're moisturizing, but they're not like going to slip and slide everywhere. I find they never transfer to my teeth. Yeah, they don't dry my lips out. I don't really need a lip liner with them. I still choose to, just because my lips are a lot smaller than that angle there. But yeah, they are just the perfect formula. They are long wearing on my skin. They are long wearing on my lips. This has lasted actually through me eating dinner, which was pancakes with bacon and maple syrup, and like the oil on the bacon and everything, it had only really worn off in the center of my lips. So it lasts, they last really, really well on my skin. They have beautiful color selections. I really, really want to buy more. Honestly, I would buy every single Maybelline lipstick and just call it a day. I would have all of them because they are my perfect formula. Speaking of lip glosses, I have the NYX Butter Gloss in Madeline. This again is probably absolutely no surprise to you that this is in this video. This is practically empty. I think I may get one more application out of this, but this is my all-time favorite nude gloss that I found so far. They do have a nude shade that's lighter than this, which I may actually go and get because sometimes this is a little bit too dark for what I like, especially because, like, okay, now I've got a bit of a natural tan, but I've noticed in the winter my pale skin is getting even more pale as the years go on. So sometimes this looks a little bit dark. However, it's not just the colour, it is the formula. They are amazing. They're not sticky, they're really nice and pigmented, but if you mix it with a lipstick, it's not going to overpower the lipstick and make it look like you're not wearing one. They smell amazing. They're really moisturising. I find they don't transfer to my teeth either. They're really cheap as well. I think they're like $9 something. They're just under $10. $9.95 I think. 100% worth it. Honestly, again, I would buy every single colour of these and call it a day. They're amazing. I've got Angel Food Cake as well, which is a beautiful shade. I just wear this a lot more. I don't wear the pink one as often, but it's not just the colour of this, it's the formula. But this colour as well can fix any nude shade I had. It could make it more neutral toned if it was too orange or too yellow. It could make it lighter, it could make it darker. It basically just could fix any single mistake I made, so to say, in any of my lipsticks. I have a concealer that really stood out to me this year, and it is the Focallure Big Cover Concealer. Now this is even better for me than MAC Pro Longwear. I have not tried Tarte Shape Tape. It's on my bucket list to try it this year. However, I bought this on Wish just because it was really pale, and I thought, okay, it would be good even to mix it in with my other concealers to really brighten underneath my eyes, particularly when I'm very pale. And I've ordered a second tube, and I've ordered a slightly darker shade as well for when I am darker. So this is beautiful. This one's in the colour Warm Ivory number 1. Yep. And I've pretty much used this all up because it is beautiful. Mind you, I'm pretty sure this came half full of air. Yeah, but it's really cheap. It's got amazing coverage. I've got my Maybelline Fit Me concealer on right now, and it's got medium coverage, and I'm not used to using that underneath my eyes. Honestly, I have not used any other concealer apart from this since I bought it and tried it, and it's the first time I've used something else under my eyes, and it looks so funny to me because I'm so used to this. I think it's not just the fact that this has got really great coverage. I think the fact that it's really pale, so when I am fair, it's really brightening as well as covering things up. But it looks really nice. I do prefer it underneath my eyes than on my face, but I have used it on my face as well to highlight. It lasts really well. I don't like it particularly to highlight because it also contains coconut oil, and I've got very oily skin. It does crease really bad underneath my eyes, but nearly everything else does as well. Even MAC Pro Longwear that's designed not to crease. But I just really love it. I could talk forever about this because it just works so well. Okay, so I have a foundation as well, and it is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless. This has pretty much been my other go-to foundation this year. This is one of the only ones I can just walk into my local chemist, pick up, and use it. I did buy the Australis White Foundation Drops. However, they're so like dewy. Someone needs to come out with foundation mixes that are matte. For people like me who are so super oily, you can't mix anything in with your matte foundations, otherwise it'll wear off. Like I mentioned, this will last all day on my face alone. I mixed this in with my white foundation to match me, and I think it's also the fact I had to use so much of it, so I was using like the tiniest amount of this, but it did not make this last on my skin at all. I got super oily within a few hours, and it started to come off, and that's not normally how that foundation goes. So that's why I keep repurchasing this foundation, because it just has really great coverage though. It looks really nice on my skin. It is relatively cheap. It's anywhere between $15 and like $20 something in my local chemists. I do buy it at Kmart unless it's on sale somewhere else. I know people hate this because it doesn't have a pump, but personally I don't care. I'm not that fussy. The colour 110 is yellow enough as well. I hate it when I find a foundation that's pale enough and it's either too neutral or too pink or too beige or something else, because I'm super yellow personally. I was even going to go and buy the Makeup Forever drops that are yellow just to mix in with my other foundations that don't match me, because I just can't find a yellow one that's yellow enough. But this is pretty much perfect. I absolutely love it. I'm wearing it right now mixed in with the L'Oreal matte foundation. The only thing is I wish this was more matte, because it doesn't last as well on my skin as I wish it would. It's not one I can wear all day every day and call it a day. I can get a good like maybe 4 hours of wear out of it before I really start and get oily, but Yeah, I prefer this without a primer, which also sucks because I can't wear it with this because it just looks so funny. I can't even wear it with Nivea Aftershave Balm, the Laura Mercier primer. Even with my really hydrating primers like my Aldi one, I can't wear it because it looks super, super funny. And I also can't blend it in with a brush either because that would be better because it doesn't add extra moisture. I have to use a sponge, otherwise it looks heavy. Pardon me. I have to use a sponge, otherwise it looks heavy, cakey, streaky. It really clings to my brush as well. So whereas I can use one layer of this with a sponge, I have to use like 2 layers on some areas of my cheeks when I use a brush because it just clings to my brushes. Like I have to actually wash the brush and not use anything else afterwards because I just will not get it to work again. So I do have to use this pretty much only with a sponge, which is probably one of the reasons why it doesn't last as well, because a sponge adds extra moisture. But I love it. It works all day. I have an eyebrow pomade here and it is from Bud K. This is in the color Chocolate. It's what I'm wearing right now. And this is my favorite eyebrow thing. I've tried about 5 different eyebrow products throughout 2017. I had the e.l.f. brow kit. I had the cheek. My camera stopped recording. But yeah, with the eyebrow pomades, I've tried the e.l.f. brow kit, I've tried the Chi pomade, I had a designer brand's eyebrow pencil, I had the Anastasia dip brow, and I have this. I have to say I think I like the formula of the Anastasia one a tad more, but it's in the auburn shade and I need to basically make it look like I've got fake hairs in my eyebrows because I have almost no tail on my brows where my actual hair is, so a darker color like this actually hides it a lot more. However, this one stays on my skin so much better. This has got that real purple tinge to it that I needed when I dyed my hair purple. This matched my hair perfectly. It was super, super, super pigmented when I first used it. I've learnt to use it now to where it looks a lot more natural, but it really just clings to my skin and just stays. It doesn't smudge. I have forgotten that I've had makeup on before and like smudged my head and it has not smudged, hasn't moved, hadn't looked any different to before I touched it. It brushes in my brows really easy and it just stays all day. I find the Anastasia one can look a little bit funny sometimes. The e.l.f. one I have to set because otherwise it's too greasy on my brows. Pencils I just can't use, and the Chi one was too pigmented. I know it sounds funny, but it was just too pigmented. I just couldn't use it. It looked so funny on my face. So this one is my favorite. I'm definitely going to keep repurchasing this. I think soon I'll need a lighter color. But yeah, I will definitely be repurchasing this. It stayed all day. I use my Anastasia brush to apply it and it just works perfectly well. Okay, so the last things are 2 eyeshadow palettes. These are the really, really cheap ones I bought off Wish. They're from Popfeel and they're just really small, simple palettes. They got black on the back, white on the front with Popfeel, and they do have little labels, so if you know which one's which, they do. So this one, that's number 2. This one's number 1 and it is the matte palette. They are very, very small shadows. You don't get much product, but for what you pay for, they're actually really good. With this, you can do very, very simple, like no makeup looks. These 2 shades are actually pale enough I can use on my inner corner. I hate it when I buy a palette, an example, the Anastasia Prism palette, and there's a skin tone shade in there and it's too dark for me to use on my eyes. I have such dark circles, I need a very brightening color on my inner corner, and these actually work perfectly well. They blend really easy. Okay, they're not the most pigmented shades, but they blend really easily. This pink shade is beautiful. These 2 orange shades are amazing. For what you pay for, they are amazing. Honestly, I was really impressed. The palette's really small, so you could just chuck this in your makeup bag. You've got almost a whole look there. You can make it very, very natural. You can make it smoky. You can make it warm toned. You can make it pink. dark, there's even some purple tones in there. So really, you actually do have quite a variety in these 15 color eyeshadow palettes. I've used these for so many looks and I get really good compliments on all of them, and I've never had anyone be and no one's ever like, everyone's always surprised when I say that the palette was only like $2. And the other one is this one, and it has got all the like shimmery metallic colors in it. So they are, again, beautiful. You do need to use a base under these. So Maybelline Color Tattoo, for example, they're what I use. You do need to use that underneath, and sometimes it's good to spray it with Fix Plus as well, just to really pack it there. But what I do is I'll spray the shade with I'll spray my brush and use whatever shade with MAC Fix Plus, put it on my lid, and once it's half dry, I'll get a dry brush and go back over the top, and I find that really keeps the metallic shine. I find sometimes if you use MAC Fix Plus with these, it can almost look matte on your eyes, but they are super shimmery. They're really nice. The white shade's really great. I've used the gold, I've used the purple, I've used the pink a little bit. They are really nice, and again, like, for the price, they're amazing. Okay guys, so that was my absolute beauty favorites for 2017. Tomorrow I will be filming like non-makeup favorites, just because I have a few that I would like to share with you all. Leave a comment down below on what your number one item was for 2017 in terms of makeup. If you do wear makeup. If you are not into makeup, just let me know what your number one thing was for 2017. Check out my description box down below for my social media sites and anything else I would like you to know. Hit the subscribe button while you're there. It is absolutely appreciated, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.